All right, everyone. Good evening. My name is Sean Moore. I am the Director of Coaching and Team Development for the North Carolina NICA League, and I will be serving as the league director for this event. I will always have Brian Russell to help me out whenever I falter in this role for this weekend as I learn the ropes of this kind of new venture for me. All right. So let's talk about tonight. The purpose of tonight's town hall is to talk about this weekend's event, give you an opportunity to ask questions about things that you are maybe unsure of, unclear of, and to show you where a lot of this information lives. And so we'll kind of start there. I will kind of direct you to where most of the information that we discussed this evening is linked to our webpage. And you click on what's happening and you go to event weekends, then this page will come up. And if you scroll down, we have gone through the first four levels and we are now at level 5, the Sonic Speed Dash. When you click on this link, it will take you to this page full of information that we will be kind of going over this evening. Everything from a venue map to the event flyer, which we will be referencing this evening, a GPX of the race course, a video of the race course, a link for you to volunteer, which we will get to in a little bit, and the camping link for registration for camping. There's also going to be links for race results and the call up lists coming soon. And we'll talk a little bit more about how that will work in the schedule. When you are first going to be coming into the venue, one of the things that I want to direct you to on the event flyer is if you are new and have not been to Mayodan before, if you click this link where it says Mayodan, North Carolina, that will take you to the map chip where you can route yourself and get directions using your GPS navigation system of choice and get right to where we're at. And that will take you to Ferris Memorial Park, which is where this weekend's event is. And for those of you that have been with us this season prior to this event, this is a kind of rerun of the same venue that we had for our rained out event 2 weeks ago, or excuse me, 3 weeks ago. They kind of blurred together there. When we look here in the event flyer, we see that Friday we have some key times that we want to talk about. And that first one is that the 11 o'clock is when the infield and course setting crews begin. We'll talk a little bit more about volunteer opportunities for that, but suffice it to say that the more help we can get at that time, the merrier, definitely. And then at 4 p.m. is when camping opens. So at this time, I think kind of the natural segue for us is to talk about when you first arrive. If you're coming in on Friday, you are more than likely camping. So I would at this time like to turn it over to our camping coordinator. And I believe that for this weekend, it's going to be Michael Ashley. Are you going to be taking this for us?
Don, I got a text from Brian Rabelais. Said he
Okay.
may be a little late getting to the phone, but I do not see Mr. Lashley on. I do see him on the phone. I just
Yes.
don't know if he can get to the
I'm not sure if
upbeat or
he's
not.
able to cover it or not. So we
Yeah.
can come back to that. So as always, those are the dulcet tones of Ben Harbor. And I guess at this point, Ben, why don't you take us through the overview of the venue since that's sort of the next natural place for us to go?
We'll certainly do that. So I'm sharing the map. So if you'll give me a good ringtone of yes, you can see what's I'm being shared here.
Yes, we can see it.
Sweet. Close that. Cool. So when you pull in off of Park Road, you'll pull into the venue. You'll have your typical vehicle parking attendants, volunteers, standing there to greet you to get your vehicle parked. As you come down the road, please adhere to our 5 mile an hour signs for safety. And then you're going to take a right right close to where EMS will be set up, and our food vendors will take a right down the purple lane. We've got that labeled the parking for pit zone. If you'll wrap all the way to the end, come back and unload your equipment, and then go take your vehicles and park them back up in the parking. There is additional parking down here off of the gravel road that goes past the basketball court. So be mindful of that. And then you've got your RV and travel trailer and conversion van, creeper van, camper van, whatever you want to call them, down the lower ball fields. We'll have our camping coordinator speak to here in a minute. Pit zone will still be in the second lower ball field as always. So be mindful and watch your rows. There'll be a slight change in where some teams are that we're working out right now because more student athletes are coming to this venue than before when we had spring break. So we certainly appreciate that and look forward to seeing them. One thing I will note as you come in and turn to your right on this big asphalt parking, we will have EMS on the very front corner, and then we'll have several food trucks here. We will be setting out cones to block all of these spaces from the entrance to the upper ball field for Site 2 tent all the way to the EMS. That is not a parking lot. That is for the food trucks to be able to set up with their trucks and trailers to be able to serve you food throughout the weekend. So it may extend down just a little bit. So be respectful of our spacing as we fit all the food trucks in. The Boy Scouts, the ice cream, the Kona ice, everybody that's going to help feed us and keep us hydrated nutrition for the weekend. So that's mainly the layout. We'll have our league trailer positioned back where we typically do, and all the other fun activities throughout the venue that others will speak to here in a moment. So I think Brian Rabelais or Michael Lashley, would you like me to continue my oh so baritone Vanna White presentation for you?
Thank you, Ben. Yeah, that would be great. So for camping this weekend, very similar to what we did a few weeks ago. So we have Site 1, well, just say on camping, just in general. Camping on Friday will open at 4 p.m. It'll close at 10 p.m. Please don't come in after 10 p.m. because it does cause a disruption. 10 p.m. really starts our quiet time. Camping will reopen again on 7 a.m. on Saturday morning and go to 10 p.m. that night. Site 1, which is the RV camping down on the soccer field, that's the one in particular that we watch very carefully. The venue is very protective of their soccer field, etc., as they should be. So if it happens to be a lot of rain or something like that, that's the one that comes into play as to whether they'll let us camp down there. But as it stands right now, we have 52 campers down there, so it will be tight. I've calculated about 18 feet per camper, so that gives us a camper and their awning. So please don't take up more than 18 feet. We need to stack in pretty tight so that we can accommodate everybody and get them onto the camping field. Do not camp on the right, the field on the right. That was sent out in the communication. Thank you, Ben, for circling that. Do not camp over there. That is a low area. If there's any rain or anything like that, that will get very squishy. Plus, there are still folks that still play soccer and stuff over there. So they'll come down. But in general, the community and the venue owners don't want us on that side of the field. So please respect that and don't go over there. On Site 2, which is up on the tent camping area for the baseball field, we have about 76 folks registered on the baseball field. Should be plenty of room for folks to spread out. Like Ben said, drive up, unload your stuff, and please move your car back to the regular parking area and do not leave it anywhere near the loading or unloading. It shouldn't be on the asphalt at all. Go back up to the parking area, leave your cars there. That would be much appreciative. For those of you that are camping, there's two teams that have the team sites across the road. I think those folks who are camping over there already know that. If you need any assistance, please let us know. I know last time we had the bathroom locked, or someone had the bathroom locked. We had to get that unlocked, but everything should be good for that. And otherwise, if you have any camping issues or camping questions, Michael Lashley is filling in for me at this venue as I'm unavailable. So if you have anything, send me questions at the camping or contact Michael. He'll be there and he'll be available through the registration table. So let them know and they can contact him on the radio.
Hey, Brian, just a simple question. It may
Yes, sir.
more than simple. Um, is Caesar the point contact to say if the lower site one is not available for camping? Is he
He
the point
is.
of contact?
He is.
Okay. So do we have a
Caesar will be the
plan?
We'll be
there.
discussing that on the weather call tomorrow,
Okay,
and we'll deal with that if that situation arises.
got it. We'll
Right.
discuss it tomorrow. I got a plan for you.
All right. Thanks.
Thanks, Sean.
Thank you, Sean. Yeah, because there's a statement within the Site One camping area that, if they tell us we can't camp in the soccer area, we do not have alternatives, but I know we're trying to accommodate, but we'll talk about it more tomorrow. Thanks, Sean.
Thank you, Brian. Ben, is there anything else that you need to discuss for the venue map?
I don't think. Oh, yes, yes, yes. I'm glad you brought it up. Good segue.
All right.
This weekend, at the venue, we've got this orange outline area. In the woods, about halfway through here. This is off to the left of our staging area, just to the edge of Site One camping and edge of staff camping. The land manager has created a small 1/3 mile trail that we are looking to use this weekend for the warm ups. I know Sean has mentioned on several of our calls now that we need to limit our student athletes from going out on public roads. So we working with the land manager and our staff, and we want to focus our students in a warm-up area that is safe, out of vehicle traffic, and allows them to be able to warm up their legs and get ready for their event the weekend. So off to the end of Site One camping, south of or to the west of staff camping, you'll be able to see that little trail that you can do some laps in. So thank you for reminding me about that, Sean.
Thank you, Ben. All right. I will, if you will end your share. And before we continue on much more, I don't want anyone to think that I have forgotten all you student athletes that are waiting with bated breath to start bombarding Shell and Brian in the chat with questions. Just a reminder that the first student athlete to put a question in the chat after I say the code word, and tonight's code word is sassafras, will receive a Fidlock gift card. The second question will receive a Cognitive MTB gift card. And the third question will also receive a Cognitive MTB gift card from our league sponsors. So just hold those typing fingers for just a few more moments until I say the code word. All right. So that kind of gets us through Friday and arriving, and that area with the camping and all of that is they've trimmed all the sassafras that grows in there, so it will be fine and ready for everybody to set up their campers and tents. All right, so let's talk a little bit about Saturday and the other details that we need to discuss. And first, I want to turn it over to Diane in registration. So, Diane, can you share with us information for registration?
Hi, Sean. Thanks. Yes. So just a reminder for student athletes that are on the call and coaches as well, please ensure that your student athlete has their race plate with them when they come this weekend. If they do not have a race plate with them, they can come and see me. If they lost it, we can take care of that. It is a $25 fee for a new race plate. We also have some student athletes who have catted up or catted down, and I have quite a few race plates that I'm holding on to. So please make sure that your student athletes, if they have changed their category, come and see me as well. And this is a another reminder. Please make sure that your student athletes have a 2025 race plate. We had someone that tried to race at the last race with a 2023 race plate. So I know coaches that there's a lot of details. There's things that you're trying to take care of with your student athletes, but that's really important because we want to make sure that they get a time for the race that they have. So last thing I want to say is Sunday. If you have a student athlete who loses their race plate on Saturday night, they need to come and see me for a new race plate. And no later than an hour before their staging time, because there's some paperwork I have to do and timing has to make some adjustments. So that's all I have. Thanks. Back to you, Sean.
No problem, Diane. And just to clarify, you need to have your race plate that is correct for this season, not just a race plate. So don't show up with any old race plate. I've never seen a panic get set through timing like happened whenever a student athlete was lining up with a 2023 race plate. That was going to cause some major problems. All right. Next, let's go to Jenny Wood to talk about volunteering for this weekend.
Hey guys, we are currently sitting at about 46% filled as far as volunteers go. We still have lots of critical and non-critical spots left to fill. We have some really good crossing guard positions for parents who would still like to be able to see their kids race. They can see their race as it's happening. We have some positions that some of our student athletes can do, as well as coaches. If you're not sure which one you would like to do or how it affects your child's race, I will be there Saturday morning, and feel free to come to the volunteer tent and we can get you signed up.
All right. And we appreciate all of our volunteers. We have extra volunteer prizes for this season. So please, if you can, donate the time. It is greatly appreciated, as it is the lifeblood of all of these events is volunteers. So shifting gears now, let's talk about the specific schedules for Saturday. And so Saturday, 8 a.m. is when volunteers will be arriving. And at 9:30 a.m., the pit zone will open up for teams to set up their pit zone areas. And that is also when that registration will open up. And Jenny will also be there with the volunteer signups so that if you are feeling so inclined to come and sign up for any of the open volunteer spots, she will be right there ready to help you out. And then we start shifting into our student athlete centered activities. And so this will kick off with the 10:45 a.m. Grit pre-ride check-in. And so Sharon, if I can turn it over to you now to talk a little bit about what Grit's going to be doing on Saturday.
Sure. Yeah, so for the Grit pre-ride check-in, that starts at 10:45. The student athletes can bring their water and their current race plate, so they can get their new group number, pop it on their race plate, and after they check in, there'll be a make your own trail mix bar at the Grit tent, and so they can make their trail mix and then hang out with Grit ambassadors that are going to be leading a discussion on season goals that were set at the beginning of the year, and kind of just talk about what everyone accomplished, what your goals are for next year, and what you could have done better throughout this year. And then we will ride out approximately 11:30-ish, and later in the afternoon between 3 and 4, for those that are registered in the mentor program, we'll be doing a bike wash clinic. That's it.
All right, thank you. Shell, are you keeping tabs on the student athlete questions?
I am, and I believe all of them will be answered in the call, but Eliana Reynolds was our first. Ethan from Lake Norman was our second, and Bodie from Watauga was our third.
Awesome. So those student athletes, you will need to see Diane at the registration table sometime on Saturday in order to get your prizes for the being the first, second, and third questions this evening. And if I don't get to those questions, please let me know so that we can make sure that they get answered. All right. From there, we will shift into the head coaches meeting, which will happen at 11:15. And this weekend, Brian Russell will be serving as our chief referee and will be conducting those things. We'll get to Brian in just a second whenever we start talking about course inspection. But the next thing that I want us to get to is the adventure and TTC areas will be opening up along with grit at 11:30. So adventure, Bill, can you tell us what's on tap at the adventure area this weekend?
Hey there, Sean. Yeah, no, I'm happy to do so quickly. We are excited that we will have the adventure area program set up for our student athletes. Mayodan, unlike some of our other venues like Browns Creek and Danville, does not have trails to open up a entirely separate adventure course. So we will be focusing our fun and having activities for our student athletes in the programs area that'll be adjacent to TTC and Grit. And thanks to all of the coaches who volunteer, we will have our Ninja Garage bunnies out so that our student athletes can practice their bunny hops and manuals. We'll also have our ramps and skinnies set up in the obstacle course so that you guys can have fun challenging you and your friends over those activities. And then we'll also have the opportunity to do on the bike games or off the bike games with some of the gear that we have, like the cornhole and other things there. So we encourage all the student athletes during Saturday afternoon to come check things out. The programs area, just to as shown here on the flyer, will open up at 11:30 and stay open all the way until 5 p.m. So lots of opportunities during the afternoon to come out and have fun. And so encourage everyone to drop by. Thanks, Sean.
Thank you, Bill. And I do want to add that I have been working this week to build a new device for you all to be able to take those bunny hopping skills you've been working on with the garage bunnies and put them to the test with a bunny hop contest and also a limbo contest. It serves both purposes. And I know that you all will have that set up in the adventure area as well. Awesome. Next up is going to be the Teen Trail Corps. And I believe, Leonard, you are going to talk about the activities that we have going with Teen Trail Corps this weekend.
Yeah, this weekend for Teen Trail Corps, we'll have all of our normal 10 activities. And student athletes, please come by and pick up your t-shirts and your water bottles that you've earned. We will also demonstrate, and it'll be a hands-on clinic on how to use a clinometer to figure out percent grade. We're going to construct 2 ladder bridges for a local trail. We'll identify tools and uses. We'll sharpen tools. And depending on how the race course goes, we may have trail care opportunities. We won't know that for sure till Friday, but we will definitely have 2 sessions.
Awesome. It's been a minute since I've used a clinometer, so that I might have to come by and brush up on my skills.
Come on over. I'm also going to teach them how to use a regular compass as a clinometer if you're in a pinch.
Nice. Excellent. All right. And so then at 12:15, the pit zone closes. And what that means is it's no longer open for you dropping off things like tents and that sort of thing. So that will have to be walked in from the parking areas after 12:15. But by no means is it closed to you being having access to them. All right. That brings us to our course inspection time. And Brian Russell, I'm going to turn that over to you so you can talk about head coach meeting and course inspection.
All right. Thank you very much, Sean. A bit of a role swap for both of us. I get to play you this weekend. You get to play me. I'm looking forward to spending more time with the head coaches. Head coaches, I hope you're looking to spend some more time with me this weekend, but we'll see how it goes. Hey, Sean, do you mind if I share my screen? Because I do want to talk about the course maybe before I talk about course inspection. It was actually our Bodie, I think, had the question, and a lot of other student athletes had the question, like, has the course changed from a couple weeks ago? And I will say, generally, it hasn't. We're starting in the same direction down here in the driving range, and we're going to run this thing in a call it counterclockwise direction, down through Lake Loop, back down the gravel road, and around here, up through the woods, through that rock garden everyone knows, across the bridge, and then back in. So generally the same direction as the last time we ran it. We spent some time as a staff talking, do we switch it up big time or do we just run the same thing? And, the positive run the same thing is you get to compare your performance to the last time and maybe try some new things on the race course. But there's 3 things we're considering changing for this event, and we will determine that Friday when that course setting team goes out and determines whether it's feasible or not. I'll talk about the most significant one, and it's this area of trail down here in between Lake Loop and towards the end of the course. There's a way for us to add, as you're coming off Lake Loop, add a loop like that and come back down the gravel road, or as you come through the rock garden and back down towards the bridge, we can loop it this way, and then you go back and finish the race course. Again, the team's going to have to take a look at that and see what the best way to do it. It looks initially feasible to do, so that might be something new for the course. The second is there is a section of single track that comes off the gravel road and runs basically parallel to the gravel road till about here. Then you pop back out on the gravel road and continue the course as normal. So that'd be a little bit of a different change. No distance change, but it gets you more single track for the race. And then we took this section of the trail out for the last course. It's right off the climb as you come across the bridge. It's rooty. We thought about taking it out because of wet weather, and there's some wet weather this weekend, so it might be, like I said, another game day decision whether we keep this loop in or not. If we add those 2 new sections in, it's about a quarter mile, a little bit more of extra riding, so it doesn't change the course substantially. But Bodie, thank you for the question. You were student athlete number 3, but a ton of other student athletes were asking what the course was going to look like for this go round. Now, that said, course inspection, no changes to our standard North Carolina game plan. The first ones out on the course are the groups. They leave about 11:30 and they are coach led, and they will go take a look at the race course. And then at 12:30, we put up the red flag, and that is for 1-lap athletes. All of those course inspections are coach-led in very small groups, taking their time, evaluating the course, maybe stopping to do some sessioning, and everyone will be super respectful out there about passing groups if they're stopping to session. That's red flag course inspection. Yellow flag, 2 o'clock to 3:30. That's for the multi-lap athletes. Same thing, coach-led, taking your time, taking a look at things, making sure you understand the course. And then from 3:30 to 5:30, so we've given 2 hours to this, is green flag. And that's where riders with a buddy pair or a few go and evaluate the course themselves at the speed they want to select. And that is not coach led, but let me foot stomp for all the coaches here 2 things. You need to emphasize with your student athletes that you have to be out with a buddy and you have to ride with your buddy. I was out there at Browns Creek on the last green lap, and I'd stop a student athlete who was completely by himself and go, "Where's your buddy?" And the answer was somewhere back there. So student athletes on the call tonight, pick a buddy that can ride with you, and you can do your green lap. You have to stay within sight of each other. And then the second thing, coaches, you need to evaluate if your student athlete's ready to do a green lap. We get some student athletes do a ton of laps, red lap and or yellow lap, and they're gassed. We've found a couple student athletes out there, they were out of gas during green lap. So coaches, please evaluate your athletes before they go out on green lap. We do have some standing marshals and some folks like me that are out there looking, but make sure they are ready to do that course inspection. So Sean, that's the overview of course inspection like you normally brief it, I hope. And hopefully that answered all the questions about what the course looks like for this weekend.
And would you like to speak to the warm-up loop and what we've discussed about that?
Yeah, I can hit that now. If you want to share the map again, just so everyone can take a look at that new area, and that'll be part of my brief on Sunday morning. We will make sure we have the warm-up area identified, and it is either going to be that orange area Ben identified that wraps around the trees and a little bit of segment through the woods on the Frisbee golf course, or as is normal, anything around the staging area and the start line in that open driving range grass field, and that's marked in white on our venue map, is open for warm up. And that doesn't have to be coach led. Student athletes can go out there, get some cycles in, and do either in that big grass field or around the wooded area. And we'll point that out. And that is the designated warm up area for Mayodan. What I'll foot stomp here, and is why Sean wanted me to mention it, is coaches and student athletes. No riding your bike, no warming up on asphalt. That includes the parking lot, that includes the road in and out of the park, and that even includes Park Road, which we had some student athletes warming up on Park Road last time. That is dangerous. I do not want any student athletes injured by a vehicle during any of our events. So that is an orange level consequence. If any student athlete is riding on asphalt during Mayodan and any other event that we're identify, hey, this is where you shouldn't ride. Do not warm up. Do not ride on asphalt surfaces. We have identified areas for you to do your warm up and do your riding. It is super dangerous with 3, 4,000, 5,000 pound vehicles riding down the road. Sean, did that cover it well enough with my chief official?
I think that was very chief official of you.
Okay, very chief official.
All right. And let's continue on with Saturday, which is pretty jam-packed with stuff.
Sean, can I ask a
yes.
clarifying question real quick?
Yes, Chris.
So the asphalt, the parking is up there. People may be going back and forth. Are you encouraging or asking that nobody rides on that asphalt, including coaches, parents, siblings, anybody? Because there often are people kind of commuting, so to speak, back and forth. So I just want to be clear on that so I know how to advise our student athletes, parents, coaches, etc.
Yeah, Chris, back when I was head coach, and this was years ago, and man, I wish I could cite it chapter and verse and Nike guidance somewhere, but it's like, you don't ride your bike in a parking lot ever. You don't ride your bike when vehicles are present ever. And it's just, oh man, at Mayodan, we were just, someone's going to get hurt. So there is plenty of grass. There's plenty of area to get around that parking lot or walk your bike through the parking lot.
I 100% agree. I just wanted to make sure that I'm giving the right guidance.
Yep. Okay. You are giving the right guidance by saying do not ride your bike on asphalt. That's about as simple as we can make it. Thanks for asking the question, Chris.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. All right. So we've got the course inspection times will be ending at 5:30, and then we have senior night will begin at 7:30. And so Diane, you want to take it away about senior night?
Sure, Sean. Thank you. Okay, so I know that it says the senior night doesn't start till 7:30, but our senior night cookout does start at 6:30. So we will be up in I call it the pavilion on the hill. So it's not the one behind the trailer, but it's the other pavilion that's right after you come through the finishing chute. So at 6:30, we will be having the senior cookout, and then we will be having the night ride at 7:30. I'm not exactly sure how many students we're going to have for that. But if you're interested and you're a senior or you're a coach, I did send out an email to the coaches with information about doing the night ride with the head coach or a level 3. Please do not hesitate to shoot me an email. You can get a hold of me at diane@northcarolinamtb.org. We're leaving tomorrow, but I will absolutely be answering all of your emails. So if you have any questions about that, just let me know. And we look forward to honoring our seniors and having a little bit of fun with them on Saturday night at their last blast at Mayodan. All right. Thanks, Sean.
Thank you, Diane. And just so we are covering kind of everybody, it is a special night for seniors, but we've also got some activities for others. And Shell, you wanted to talk about family movie night.
Yeah, so we'll have a movie night open to anyone who's there camping or there for the day and still wants to hang out. We'll be watching Sonic the Hedgehog 3. And then we will also have some light up games. We've got light up cornhole, glow can jam, and we have a capture the flag light up game that we can have 3 teams of people playing at one time, and it looks pretty cool. And I've had it for about a year, and we've been rained out every event we were supposed to use it. So I'm pretty excited to use it because the kids have seen it and it looks pretty cool, but we've never used it yet. So stop by 7:45, come hang out with us. Got glow sticks, bring your favorite snacks, your family, and we'll watch a movie and have some fun.
And let's just say, hypothetically, you haven't seen Sonic 1 or 2. Do you need to binge watch those before this, or is this movie going to hold up on its own?
The honest answer, I never even knew there was a Sonic the Hedgehog movie until I Googled it for this event and found out the third one just came out in December. So it's rated PG. So it's appropriate, but I don't know what it is.
All right. Okay, so that will end us on Saturday, and that will bring us to Sunday. And Sunday, of course, is race day. So at 8 a.m., we will have that head coaches meeting that Brian will be leading. That is mandatory for head coaches to be there. And then we will have our opening ceremony at 8:40. And we will have more details about that in the race schedule. And then for there, we start our races. And so we'll kind of describe this process a little bit. So everyone who registers before the late registration cutoff at 11:59 p.m. on Thursday will receive a call up. So they will be on the call up list. That call up list will get published on Friday. And so you'll be able to see what call up you have. And then you will kind of be able to anticipate how you're going to be lined up. Then we will have our wave 1 staging, and you can see the staging times here. All of the staging is down by the start line in that big open area in the field. You need to be present for your stage time, and you need to be ready to go. So it's important that you have all of your stuff and you are ready to go. We will give guidance to coaches if we anticipate weather, like if it is colder than normal, if student athletes want to have a jacket, but they ditch it at the start line, we can give head coaches the kind of guidance on that in that morning meeting, if there's anything in particular that we would need to talk about. Once we start staging, remember, once the student athlete goes into the chute, they are set. If they need anything that they have to leave the chute for, if they leave the chute, then they get lined up at the back. So make sure that you are ready to go for your start whenever you show up for staging. We'll do all the stages, and you can see that we got some coach feedback from the last race about some of the categories and what we call inter-category passing events, where 7th grade riders were passing 8th grade riders, 8th grade riders might have been passing other riders. And so we have added some additional time in between those different fields to try and minimize and keep those passing events to as small a number as possible. If we can't approach 0, we can get it very low. And so that has extended our day just slightly with those additions. And you can see that we continue with the same schedule of staging time and start time. And you can see that our final wave 4, the varsity boys, JV1 boys, and the middle school A boys, they are our last wave to go out. And the varsity boys are our last field to finish. And so we anticipate that they will finish at about 3:30. And so at that point, course teardown will begin. And we can usually get everything torn down and brought to the trailer in about an hour to an hour and 15 minutes. And that means that we can get to awards by about 4:45, 5 o'clock at the latest. And so that's important for you to know and be aware of for the award ceremonies at the end of the day. One of the things that I do need to highlight, though, is that for these awards, they will just be for this race. The overall awards for the race season, the best 3 out of 5, those will be given at the state championship race, which is event number 6. So we will not be doing those podiums until the state championships, if that makes sense. So that would be for the individual series overall and the team series overall points leaders. That will occur at state championships. All right, Brian Russell, I see you have your hand raised.
Yeah, I wanted to go back to call up, Sean, because Ethan Kolovich, he was our second student athlete to ask the question. He asked,
all right,
races are dropped for the purposes of call ups at this point in the season. And so it's just your lowest race, essentially. So out of those 4 races, we drop the lowest. That's your call up position going into Mayodan here for the 5th race. And thank you for the question, Ethan. That's great.
Yes. Are there any other questions that we need to talk about? I know the big one that everybody has is probably about the weather, and we can get to that now. Or if you have other questions about what we've discussed that would be more relevant here, we can talk about that as well. All right. So weather forecast looks great. We are anticipating that there will be intermittent thunderstorm activity Friday afternoon and Saturday, typically coming in the latter part of the day, not necessarily in the morning. With that being said, we will have the typical protocols for if we do have a weather shutdown, then everyone has to get back to their cars to wait out whenever we can get the all clear for lightning. That's our big thing and our big concern. That does mean that the schedule is going to be pretty dynamic for Saturday. We may not be fully set up. And so we may need really to get more people to kind of pitch in and let us get everything set up the way it should be. So just be mindful of that. Whenever you come, things might not be set up at the level that you're normally used to. And that would be because of any weather related delays that we have. The good news is that Sunday is going to be a gorgeous day. It's looking to be in the 50s in the early morning races and into the low 70s for the later afternoon races. No chance of rain, no chance of precipitation at all. So it's going to be a beautiful and fantastic race day. So with that is the really good thing that we have going into this weekend. So we may have to be really flexible on Saturday and just be mindful of that. And then remember that in that race schedule that is posted on the event flyer, that is a dynamic document. So if we need to make changes, we will be updating that. And so you'll see all of that reflected in real time as we make those changes. All right. Anything else that needs to be covered from anyone in the team? Yes, Brian.
Eliana Reynolds was the first student athlete to ask a question and asked specifically if there are thunderstorms, how will that affect Saturday's schedule? I believe you answered that by saying we will have to pause and come back. But Eliana, if that didn't answer your question sufficiently, please let us know. But yeah, thunderstorm comes, we stop. Sean makes a decision. Okay, it's time to come back and restart the schedule. And just like you said, they'll update the schedule live on the document, and we'll get that out via TeamSnap to everyone that a change has been made.
All right. Other questions? All right. Thank you very much, everybody. We will be having a weather call tomorrow. And so we will put out on social media and TeamSnap what that weather call is, whether we are a go or a no-go. And we will get that out to you as quickly as possible. All right. Thank you very much. Hope to see everyone this weekend. And if you need anything, you can get into hold of me at Shawn, SHAWN, at northcarolinamtb.org, or anyone else on the team. Thanks for joining us tonight. And as always, look forward to seeing you this weekend.